welcome to our next vlog on self-care and how to gain a healthier, happier version of you. Today we're going to talk about responding and not reacting. I'm Sophia from Trident Wellbeing and I'm a mind and wellbeing coach, author, martial art instructor and personal trainer. In this series I'm focusing on weight loss tools and practices that you can do quickly and easily. And if you require a bit more help, there is my course on the website, and the first session once you join is for free. So for more tips and tricks to rewire your health, just click on the links below and subscribe by pressing the subscribe button. Don't forget to press the bell so that you know when next week's tips are uploaded, and be sure to watch for the fun interruption. Today I want to talk about who is running your life. Is it you or is it your reactions? You see, if it's your reactions, that means that you're responding to some sort of external stimuli or catalyst. Then you're being controlled by what's happening around you and you're not making the best choices, experiencing the best emotions, or creating the best situation to be in. Now, maybe there are certain stressful circumstances that you have to deal with on a daily basis. For example, maybe you have a toxic work environment. One of my clients is both a narcissistic boss and a power-driven, politically minded co-worker.
Damn it!
Okay, hold on. Judge is in session. What is the problem here?
You put my stuff in Jell-O again.
Yep, double whammy. This creates a lot of stress in her day. She becomes overwhelmed, feels anxious, oftentimes quite sad, and she has reactions to this. Quite often it might just be fatigue at the end of the day, so much so that she's too tired to exercise or eat as well as she could. Societimes it manifests in illness, and consistently the feelings of stress are so huge that she just feels horrible. She doesn't feel like socializing, creating more isolation for herself and feelings of overall unhappiness. This is reacting to the external environment. Maybe you're in a relationship with family and certain members are unsupportive. Perhaps they're derogatory or they minimize everything that you try and do. And as a result, you might look to food to self-soothe, or you might become so deflated that you don't want to move again. Again, this is reacting. Maybe you get really angry and think, I'll show them. But you do so in a negative way. Perhaps you're yelling, or you're being recalcitrant, or overindulging in alcohol or junk food, or any other means of unhealthy practices. Like one person I worked with, you may have experienced trauma and you can't stop the thoughts popping up in their mind. They self-talk and it's very negative and it leaves them feeling out of control. Now, this particular person used to react by numbing these emotions with alcohol and medication, but since stopping those practices, after hitting an even worse low point in their lives, they used food as a substitute, taking one thing out and replacing it with something that's also harmful. Now, even though these events happened a long time ago, this person is still reacting. So what would be a better solution? How about if instead we responded? Now, this works in all contexts, not just around food, but since this is our weight loss blog, and that's predominantly what I'm talking about, we'll focus on the weight and the health. If you take just a moment every time you want to embark on a negative practice and simply pause. Just pause, that's it. Take a breath. 1, 2, 3. Now ask yourself, what would be a better response? The trick here is that it's not going to become automatic until we practice it over and over, and soon we'll be responding most of the time. And the more we do this, the more we create it within ourselves, responding as a more congruent habit. Now imagine when that driver abuses you for a mistake you made, and we all make them on the road, usually unintentionally, but they're suddenly filled with road rage and it's directed towards you. Maybe in the past you would have reacted with rage back at them, flick them the bird, or have an elevated sense of aggravation yourself. Then as you became more and more frustrated, you felt victimized. Now just imagine if instead you had paused, perhaps you could have had a different response. You'd still get the surprise, you still may have been somewhat agitated, but instead of allowing it to then follow you for the next 2 hours or so, you paused and you responded. Perhaps you gave them a wave and said, sorry. And a thought might have popped into your head, well, clearly that person has too much on their plate, or they're having a really rough day if they need to get that aggro. Now try it around food. Imagine a situation where you would react and instead pause. Breathe. 1, 2, 3, in and out. What would be a better response? Maybe it takes longer, a little bit longer to think on it, but that doesn't really matter, as long as we choose a response. For when we do this, we can change our emotions. It's not going to be instant, but again, we'll get better at it. I chose not to eat that high carb fatty food that tastes so good, because I know later I'll wish I hadn't. So by doing this, we change the emotions of how we're feeling. For when we feel differently, we act differently, and we make different decisions, and we can attend to our own needs in a far healthier manner. So if we go back to one of the previous examples, what's a better response than to yelling out the car window and dealing with anxiety and potential complications if you're at the, just in case you end up at the stoplights together? Focus instead on how you could improve your driving. Maybe it becomes a learning experience. Shift that intent from being upset. With food or exercise, what is a better response from just sitting there and eating because you're focused on what happened? Instead, think of a better response. Focus forward like we've spoken about before. Ask yourself, what makes you feel better? And then respond in kind. I know exercising will make me feel better for most of the day. So even though some days it's a challenge, I will respond by just doing something that makes me sweat. It isn't always a run, perhaps sometimes it's a YouTube video or a favourite exercise CD or a series of resistant exercises and flows that I know work. The same with food. There's times that just feel like it's far too much work to be involved in preparing a meal, particularly if it's been a stressful day. So I pause and I respond. Okay, it's an egg and salad on sourdough, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not unhealthy. It's not, extreme. It's not gourmet, but it's not chocolate either. In this way, you reduce the feelings of overwhelm and the subsequent fatigue that comes with it, and still find the wherewithal to move more, to make healthier food choices, to perhaps veer away from using food to self-soothe. We all have different ways we can choose to respond. But what I do know for certain is there are choices that we can take, and when we take our time not to react, we allow space in our mind for those other choices to occur. So next time you're experiencing those elevated emotions and you want to react, take a moment, pause, and then respond. This way you take back control. If you have deeper issues and the trauma is more, then maybe a one-on-one coaching might be required, and you can give me a call or send me a message or email, and we can do this even via Skype or phone if that's your preference. And down below I've included a link to my book Weight Hack, Set of Mind Hacks, and you can get more details on any of that and how to rewire your thinking. And until next time, I wish you much love.